Hey, welcome to my channel. I am the Carnivore Curmudgeon, and I am an actual carnivore, but I am not an actual curmudgeon. Well, at least most of the time. Actually, I didn't really want to comb my hair for this video, so I decided to use a stock photo. But I'm going to show you a carnivore recipe today that's so tasty and so easy that it's bound to put a smile on even the most curmudgeonly person's face. I know in the way of carnivore eating, we like to stick mostly to the ruminants, especially beef, and I like to do as much as I can with venison since I have access to it. And of course, there's always lamb. Hey, no need for the attitude. But if you grew up similar to the way I did, you might reminisce every now and then for a tasty piece of chicken, especially if you grew up anywhere around Aunt Bee's fried chicken or a certain Colonel's fried chicken. Well, just because we're on a carnivore diet doesn't mean that we can't enjoy some delicious fried chicken, and I'm going to show you how to make it carnivore. In many respects, it couldn't be easier, and all you need is a few simple ingredients. An air fryer is helpful too. First thing you're going to need is some chicken thighs. This recipe really works best with chicken thighs. Chicken legs will work too, but chicken breasts tend to be a little bit too dry for this recipe. And if you think you don't like chicken thighs, give it a try with this recipe. You might change your mind. I got mine at Food Lion, 4 big, thick, meaty, fatty chicken thighs for $3.86. And you're only going to need 3 spices. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and 2 teaspoons of onion powder. That's all you'll need for this. You will need 1/4 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese and 1 cup, butter, and 1 cup of ground pork rinds. Now I buy my pork rinds in a bag and then I grind them myself. And subsequently what ends up happening is these little hard bits that are real molar breakers end up not grinding up fine enough. And so I sort through and pick them out so they don't end up in my fried chicken crust. Then I take my spices and I swirl them around like a pompous French chef and then mix them in to my pork panko for my fried chicken crust. Now next what we're going to do is put in that Parmesan cheese and give it a little stir around, mixing it in there with the rest of our fried chicken breading or crust, if you will. You don't need any kind of egg wash for this recipe. If you feel like your chicken is, another little hard piece, got to get rid of that molar breaker. If you feel like your chicken is too dry, you can put a little bit of oil on it, but really we're just going to take a handful of this breading or crust and we're going to liberally apply it to the top and give it a good mush. I believe that is the culinary term for this procedure. Mush it right down onto the top to get it to stick. Pile it as high as you want, as long as you've got enough for all 4 pieces. Once you've got everything coated really well, it's time to use that butter. Just take a few tabs of butter and slice it and then apply it to the top of each piece of chicken. 2, 3, 4, whatever suits your particular need is fine. That butter is going to just lend a real delicious flavor to the already tasty pork rinds, and it's going to help to keep them from getting so crisp that they get too crunchy and yet give a really great fried chicken texture. And once each piece has got its appropriate amount of butter on the top, it's time to put them in the air fryer and get this going. Now I happen to have 2 air fryers. The one I'm using today is my older one and it has definitely seen better days. The new one I have would accommodate all 4 of these pieces at one time, but I know it doesn't cook them to the crispiness that I like this chicken. So I'm just going to do 2 different batches of 2 thighs each. I've already preheated my air fryer to 400 degrees, but now I'm going to put the chicken in and set it back to 400 degrees and give it a start on the first go round of 15 minutes. And then I'll check the temperature. And you don't have to use an air fryer. If you don't have an air fryer, if you don't want to use one, you can just use your oven. You'll want to cook this chicken in whichever way you prefer until the internal temperature reaches about 165 to 175 degrees. And because I've used this air fryer so much, I know that I have to spin this chicken around because it doesn't heat evenly all the way around. And after a second go round in the air fryer for about 10 to 12 minutes, this chicken is now at the proper temperature. Time to lather, rinse, and repeat on the next two pieces. This chicken tastes great as a meal on its own, or you can serve it with something. I also find that it makes a great snack and tastes just as good cold as it does when it's hot, like Aunt Bee's fried chicken would. So give this recipe a try. Take it to the table, serve it with glamour hands like you're on a cooking show. And I think you'll find once you taste it, you too might become the happiest curmudgeon on the block.